Hmm. Well, my next little project is trying to deal with this garden. So over here, obviously we have the way into the garage, and there's going to be this section that I'll eventually pour, make it, reinforce it and make it like a little bit of a bridge without being a bridge. And what I'm finding is that with this section of garden on these two sides, because it kind of goes up and down, there's not enough earth here, and the water tends to just run away. So I put the sprinklers on and both sides, it goes and runs off. So what I'd like to do is build this side up just to kind of about this level here, which doesn't seem like much, maybe a little higher, I don't know. Long term, what I want to do is I want to make like a curb. So when I go to pour this and I go to pour the little walkway bridge or whatever into the pool room, I'm going to make a curb along there and then just kind of have the top of it slanted so that you can just kind of brush the dirt against it, but underneath that is all reinforced concrete on the side. Because if you're standing this way looking, it doesn't really matter anyways. Who's going to stand here and look at the whatever, right? So the idea is that I just don't want to do that much work right now. So what I'm going to do is we have a ton of big stones and stuff in the greenhouse. So what I'm going to do is bring them here. I'm going to start laying them all down just about this high. And then I'm going to we've got some old landscape fabric, which we had from our old house. I'm going to kind of cut this in half, wrap it along the bottom, and then just get a trailer or two full of dirt and build this edge up. Not ideal, it won't last a long time, but it's better than nothing. So hopefully that'll give us a little more life to these plants on the side and help the garden not dry out so quickly. Anyways, mini project, but let's get it done while it's cool. Let's get to it. Well, what do you think? Is that going to do it? I don't know. Guess we'll have to see. I'll put down the membrane shortly. And then tomorrow we'll go and get some dirt. See if we can fill it in a bit. I'm not going to worry past this bush down here because for right now, it's all where I dump paint, mix concrete, and do all that sort of stuff. So it's kind of my dumping ground. So yeah, we just got back from a couple days later. We just got back from the place where they got dirt and gravel and stuff. We get all this for 15 euros. I think that's a good deal. What do you think? Very, very wet because we had so much rain, but we kind of got a little less than normal because they do it by weight. But that's okay. It's still an awful lot of dirt for 15 bucks. Think about how many bags. That's like 3 bags here of dirt that you'd be buying. So, and it's garden soil. So, let's get this on the garden over there. So there we go. Getting all excited about getting my dirt, and I forgot to put down the membrane. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in half, put half of it roughly on this, and then the other half over there. And see if that stops the dirt from squeezing through on the stones, at least for a year or two, until I build a proper curb when I do the ramps. So let's get to that. Let's cut this up, layer down. Don't know how I'm going to, I guess just put some stones to weigh it down while I put the dirt over. Got lots of stones in the greenhouse, so let's do that. Obviously not doing a great job with this, but it's a little bit disposable, I'd say. Smarter way to do this? I don't know. I think this will actually work. Perfect. I'm just gonna go this way. I think I'm gonna put, I'll put the garden membrane or whatever it's called underneath the pipe. Tuck it in a bit more. I think we're going to do that. Not spend too much time with it. All right, well, we have the little membrane-y thing down, or weed stuff, whatever it's called. Yeah, let's just start filling up with dirt and see how much it'll hold. Hopefully I won't see too much of the black stuff. Well, another thing I'm going to do is, because I've got my IBCs over here with all the 8,000 liters of water and all that stuff that I save up during the winter, like around now where we're getting ready for summer. When it rains, it pumps it up from the gutters and stores it in there. But what an issue I had last year, especially when we had big thunderstorms, is that the water, if I wasn't watching it, because there's two levels of tanks, I would either have to really seal the top ones, or sorry, the lower level ones, because then when it fills up, it would go up, I originally thought, and go all the way to the top, but it doesn't. It leaks too much, and I just don't want to spend the time trying to, caulk them down and trying to really seal it, because if I ever want to get in there and clean them, I need to be able to get in and then power wash them through. So what I've decided to do is to get two sensors. So there's going to be a lower sensor and an upper sensor. And the lower one, when it gets to a certain level, for the four on the bottom, it's going to turn a valve, and it'll basically stop the water that by default runs through the top and all the way down to the bottom, and it just lets it fill the top. And then the suction for the sprinklers and stuff comes from the bottom anyways. So what I'll do is I will have it so that when it gets low at the bottom, it opens a valve, and then all that water comes down. And then I'm also going to have another sensor on the top row that's going to let me determine when to turn on and off the pump. So with the pit I made out there, you can look at older videos, that water gets put into there, the overflow then goes down and out to the street, basically. So, not the street, but into the gutter for the, you know. Anyway, so by doing that, if I have a sensor at the top, I'll then be able to turn that pump off so that instead of pumping it and having it overflow, especially if we're not here, and I forget to go, oh wait, we've got enough water, shut it off with my little app on my phone, this will just automatically do it. So the bottom will fill up. When it fills up, that'll go, and then as the sprinklers go, we'll be able to, you know, that bottom will empty, it'll open, close, that kind of thing, and kind of keep itself always balanced. And then when we get too much water for everything, which is pretty rare, except for this time of year, and in the winter, then the top one will shut off and make sure it'll send a signal to the pump not to work, basically. But yeah, that's my plan. That just mean a lot less little floods, not big floods, but you know, it kind of overflowed. I went, oh geez, and that kind of back area where I got a bit wet. Didn't wreck anything, but I'd rather not do that. So yeah, that's the plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the lids, so the lids on the IBCs like that, and then you can buy these sensors, just cheap things. And they got two little holes in them, not holes, but two little sensors, and they're like an ultrasonic sensor. So it sends a signal out and comes back in, and it is able to determine how far down it is. And you can set. It goes up to 10 centimeters, which is about that much, I guess, the width of a hand from the top of where this is sitting. So it'll be on top of like this. We've already probably got, what's that, 5 centimeters? So this is going to come up to about 5 centimeters from the top, which is perfect. And then I just got to take measure down, measure what the average distance is to make it, call it 0, like it's not full. And then you just put that in your app, and then I can automate it through the Home Assistant stuff and have that all running all the time. But anyways, yeah, so all I'll have to do is take there's little caps on these. Just got to pull the caps off, and then I'm going to drill 4 little holes, screw it down to the top of it. It doesn't have to be perfectly sealed because the water hopefully will never get each there unless something goes wrong with them. And they just work, these sensors work off of Zigbee. So I already have a Zigbee network kind of set up for all our temperature sensors and stuff like that. And for switches and things like that. So yeah, hopefully this is useful. Hopefully it'll make a difference and stop me having to worry about the water all the time and then just let it manage itself, which is kind of what I was originally planning to do. So anyways, that's what I'm up to next. It's time to get the sprinkler set up, and it's time to get the water pumping in because it's going to be summer in the blink of an eye. That's a good trick. Just put it in a vise and then down real tight. And that seems to be coming out, I think. That or it's just spinning in circles, but it looks like it's going down. No, it's coming out. Oh, well, nice little hole. And you should be able to see now that the 2 sensors will come out like that. They fit pretty well. Just got to make sure they're centered. And hopefully that works well. Let's do it for the other one. All we got to do is mark these. The good news is they come with these kind of O-ring type things. Not O-rings, but rubber things. So I think it's just about the perfect distance. So I'm going to try it. It's minimally by like a couple millimeters maybe too big from the threads, but I'm going to give it a go anyways. Worst case is I have to make it slightly bigger, but I don't think so because that's what they're giving you. So I'm going to mark this down, Get this perfectly centered, put some dots with a pencil or something. And then let's just jam some screws in it. Now, don't really need any, it just to secure it a little bit, so I don't really need anything big. No big screws required. Just small enough that I can just put them in. What do we have here? And I'm just going to use like all-purpose screws. I'm not going to worry about self-tapping or anything like that. It's just to keep it from flopping around or anything. See if this will do enough. I think that's fine. I think they're at least synced, and well, if they do rust, I don't care. It's fine. All right, I'm going to drill some teeny little holes. If I can find a teeny little blade or bit. Actually came with screws. Oh well. And then you can go into your app, and you can add a device, I think. A little button in there you're supposed to be able to push. It doesn't seem like something's blinking. Might take this inside. I don't think it's being found on my Zigbee network. Well, it's been a few days. I've installed the water level meters, the sound things, acoustic level water detectors, whatever you want to call them. So I've got one on here, and I got one up here. So what happens when we get the water from the rainwater, when it gets delivered, it comes into that one, splashes around, and then kind of dribbles down, or works its way down through the pipes and fills the bottom up first. And then when it gets to a certain level, what I want to do, because it's been an issue in other years, is I want to insert a shutoff valve right here, which will basically limit the water from going down the bottom and then overflowing these bins at the bottom row. So we've got 4 of them on the bottom and 4 of them on the top. So what I want to have it do is there's a thing you can get, which is like a Zigbee valve thing, and it goes on top like this, and then I can have a command sent out basically that says when the water level hits 98% or something like that, shut this valve off. That means it will start filling the top ones without flowing into these ones, if that makes sense. And then the same thing is I have the pumps controlled. So I have a pump here, which is inside of the well. Now the well we only use sort of as emergency in the really hot of the summer. And then what I'll do is I'll have it so that if these ones at the bottom with that sensor over there ever detects it's below 10%, I will have the well from the well water fill up maybe to 20 or 30% and then shut off. And that'll just keep things going. And then what I'm also going to have up here, because I've got a sensor on the top one, is when it hits, close to 100%, it will shut the pump off that does the rainwater. So if we have a huge big storm and the water's coming in, which happened a couple times last year, it keeps pumping it. And unless I remember to shut it off, and to actually I used to manually come out here and kind of look, oh yeah, I think we were okay for another storm. We get up all the way to the top, and all this thing will be filled, and I have to manually shut off all the valves. Instead of doing that, by inserting one here, and by having this all automated, hopefully I won't have to worry about it anymore, and basically it'll just take care of itself. Theoretically. So anyways, let's insert some valves, and this valve, and let's see if we can get it kind of automated. And I'll show you what the thing looks like on a couple stills, just so you can see what I look at. So I can do it on my phone or on my computer, and you can see the water levels at any time. What I found so far, they're accurate within about 5%. Basically, you measure from the top here to the bottom, and you say how high it's sitting above the top of the bin. It's not very accurate with about 10 centimeters, which is about that much. So I never really want to really push my luck and fill it too much anyways. So they're risen up 5 centimeters above the top because they're sitting on the cap. And I'm just going to have them fill about 5 centimeters from the top of the bin just to make sure nothing overflows. Because if I do that, that's pretty close to having 8,000 liters and not having to worry about it. So once again, this time of year, we'll definitely fill up the 8,000 liters, but come July and August, it'll be a struggle to keep that filled, even just the bottom row, which is the normal thing is. So yeah, having it all automated so that when I turn the sprinklers on, there's enough there to do the garden and keep the grass alive, just barely alive in the summer, which is kind of what I do, will be fantastic. So we've had so much water this year. The well is so full. I've never seen it this full. It's like normally every spring I kind of give it a look in there, make sure nothing's in there. And yeah, it's really, really high. It's almost at ground level, like we're this much from ground level. So there's a lot of water this year. Anyways, let's go and install this. I'm gonna detach these two. Let's see if I can do it by hand first. Whoops. Not too bad though. Have to install some Teflon tape. That one's probably fine, but you don't really have to put the tape on, I don't think, but we'll do it anyways. There we go. I'm going to put a little extra on this one. Which way does it go? It goes that way. This will be the end that leaks if it does. Which it shouldn't. Let's try to get the height right. So, from where I mark it, it needs to be 5.5 centimeters higher. I find it's much easier to go this way and then pull across. Bin, which is somewhat full, is now going to fill these guys up. Not feeling anything. Hard to know down there, but all right. Now, so basically there's a clamp that goes around this and holds this onto it. So let's see if we can get this working. Yeah, I want the clamp to go that way. you just kind of adjust a little bit so there's a little bit of play, but not too much. And if there's going to be any play, you want to have it when it's on. One thing you got to watch with these things is that when they come up, sometimes they can't push hard enough, so they kind of pulse, and it'll burn them out. I've done that once with one of them. So right now, this is working as I would expect. Yeah, they're a little, you know, janky, but it works well. I mean, I've been doing them for about 3 or 4 years now. These things kind of jiggle-jaggle around. I'm going to come back with the screwdriver and really tighten down on that one screw. Get that, I'll be right back. Just this one screw here that you got to be a little careful with. There we go. Try it again. Not pulsing, so that's good. Let's check again any water. I don't feel any wet stuff. That's good. We'll bundle this up. And then we can add it to my phone. And I can find out what my phone is. Here's my phone. So I've got a Home Assistant thing going on. And if I go, I can add this to my Zigbee network. It's called Valve 1. And I'm going to call this, what should I call this? Bottom tank, top tank? Bottom tank, top tanks, or whatever. But anyway, it's on there. I can push the button remotely on my phone. I will obviously get these cables sorted. Yeah, you basically can control it on your phone. And that will now, when it's down, it allows all this water to... I'm going to sort this out right now because I'm going to break something. All right. Yeah. Shouldn't play with this all day if I wanted to. So there we go. That's a project well done. Hopefully it's a nice fix for me to not have to worry about overflowing and flooding this whole area, which happened a couple times last year. So, not really flooding, but, you know, wet, a little bit of drip, trickle of water. The whole garage slopes that way anyway, so. But anyways, that's all sorted now. So let's get on to something else. Well, it's been such a rough, windy winter that all the leaves, because we have the security cover on the pool during the winter, and whenever we leave, it was so bad, the winds, it would lift up the security cover and then smack down. And so a whole bunch of leaves have blown in the pool. Normally we have, you know, a few, maybe 20 leaves in there, but there's like an awful lot in there right now. So I've just noticed today that it looked like it was starting to go a bit green. So I'm going to quickly go remove all the leaves. It's still too cold to get the pool chlorinator working, but if I can get that out, that'll stop it from getting too bad, because there's just so much like stuff breaking down in there with the leaves and things like that, so it's gone a bit green. The water's perfectly clear. The pH is good. There is some chlorine in it. I just think it's too much to be able to handle all that organic matter. So let's get to it. Let's clean it up. And I just noticed the water level is so high, it's above the level of the skimmer. So I've had so much rain this winter, I'm going to go and dump some bunch of it.